Hello. Today we're going to be talking about making informed decisions and ethical decisions. As many of you are working fairly independently now, you have been making decisions and testing the limits of your own competence while being guided by best practices. You learned these practices by watching your site supervisor and colleagues to demonstrate them as they addressed situations, made decisions, and took actions. Best practices are ways of conducting the work that members of a profession have agreed to abide to. In turn, your site developed its own policies and reflect the best practices for its staff. Among other things, best practices ensures consistency and professional quality of services. Regardless of how much we know about best practices or how closely we follow them, we are likely to encounter situations that make us uncomfortable or make us pause and think. You already may have experienced such situations and were unsure about which conclusion to draw, which decision to make, or which action to take. These situations are common in the world of professional work, and an internship is similar to this world in many ways. It too can be fraught with a number of issues that pertain to aspects of intern experiences. For the purpose of this module, an issue refers to a point that is in question or in dispute. Issues may be professional, moral, ethical, or legal, or any combination of these. Most likely, when you started as an intern, or the first time you encountered some of the common internship workplace issues listed on the screen, you were nervous. But now you no longer are a newbie. So this may be an opportune time to pay closer attention to those issues, which are organized by practice, integrity, and intervention, but may fall into more than one category. As you pursue the issues, think about why you have been able to deal with some of them rather easily, how some challenged you in ways you didn't expect, and which of these issues have taken on different meaning as your internship moves forward. Generally speaking, practice issues have to do with how you engage your profession and include such issues as educational preparation, diversity awareness, and cultural competence. Integrity issues have to do more with the way you approach your work on a daily basis and include such issues as confidentiality, disclosure, and data recording and storage. Intervention issues are specific to helping and service of professions and have to do working directly with clients. They include managing clinical issues, making referrals, and overseeing a caseload. You must be able to identify the kind of situation you are facing. That assessment can be complicated when the situation does not fit neatly into any one of the categories of issues. This is when you end up in an ethical dilemma. At this point, you might be wondering how you have managed to survive for so long without knowing about ethical matters. This is exactly how our students throughout the years have felt after learning about ethical dilemmas. Chances are that your basic values have served you well. Spending time during the internship thinking about the ethical issues that can develop can feel overwhelming. However, familiarizing yourself with them can feel quite manageable. Most likely, many possible ethical matters will include some you have never heard of, as well as some that seem familiar. To have a useful discussion about these issues, there must be shared language for communicating and a common understanding of the problem. In the section that follows, we will identify some of the terms that are frequently used in discussion of ethical matters and their working definition. Standards refer to guidelines or codes that govern the behavior of members of a given profession. Ethical suggests that someone is acting in accordance with professional standards, codes, guidelines, or policies. Legal suggests that someone is acting in accordance with the law. Values refer to what is instinctively good, useful, and desirable. Moral refers to what is right or wrong based on broad morals, religious principles, and others. And ethics refer to the moral principles or rules of conduct of a particular profession. The NASW Code of Ethics is a set of standards that guide the professional conduct of social workers. Professional ethics are the core of social work. The profession has an obligation to articulate its basic values, principles, and standards. The NASW Code of Ethics sets forth these values, principles, and standards to guide social work conduct. The code is relevant to all social workers and social work students, regardless of their professional functions, the setting in which they work, or the population they serve. The code offers a set of values, principles, and standards to guide decision-making and conduct when ethical issues arise. It does not provide a set of rules that prescribe how social workers should act in all situations because the world is ever-changing. Areas it does cover is competence, relationships with clients, social media, billing of services, dual relationships, and policy and practice. You hear it said the most, ethical dilemma. But a dilemma refers to a struggle over alternative courses of action to resolve a situation. We must be able to recognize the professional issues we are in and use critical thinking, the code of ethics, and our supervisors to help us navigate these dilemmas. Critical thinking is considered a habit of mind in which you can comprehensively explore issues, ideas, artifacts, and events before accepting or formulating a final conclusion. Using standards of reasoning such as clarity, precision, accuracy, relevance, depth, and breadth, assessing and evaluating will help you weigh alternative perspectives and evaluate all views objectively. So how do we work the problem? Well, we first must identify the dilemma, which is teasing apart the values that are in conflict, can be done using the techniques of bracketing, which means being able to set aside as it supersedes, not changing our values. The next part is consult the codes. Determine how compatible your personal values are with those of the NASW Code of Ethics. Then consider the laws. Chances are you are just becoming familiar with laws, both civil and criminal. Your supervisor can help you. Consult with your colleagues. Engage with informed coworkers and supervisors to discuss and discover a range of ways of considering the situation. Question the motives. Think through which changes you hope to bring about in the attitudes, behaviors, or circumstances in question. Brainstorm the strategies. Identify all possible courses of action, including the absurd. Some may prove useful, others unorthodox. Consider the consequences. Think about the consequences of each strategy for all involved in the situation, including you. Test the values. When the codes do not provide enough substance or guidance, use the document of principles from your professional field to help you think about a dilemma. Decide diligently. The more obvious the dilemma, the clearer the course of action. The more obscure the dilemma, the more difficult the choice. And assess objectively. Some dilemmas will be easy to resolve, while others will not. If it was easy, it wouldn't be called an ethical dilemma. As you continue to develop your sense of competency and professional identity while learning to deal with decisions that may arise related to professional behavior and ethics, you will soon approach a celebrated, sometimes bittersweet time in your journey. This is called the culmination stage. You will have the opportunity to reflect on what you have accomplished and how you have achieved your goals. This may include understanding ethical dilemmas better, tackling an ethical dilemma, or being more prepared in how to deal with them in your future practice. Remember, they are not going away.